just after 5 a.m. Coming out here to get everything ready for processing. Last night we moved the birds over, so they're in this dog kennel right near the processing station. So we're gonna pull out the plucker, we'll pull out the scalder, get the scalder filled up and get it fired up, and then we'll wait about probably 7:30 we'll start. So we got a little bit of time, but I want to make sure that scalder gets fired up and gets hot. It's cold out here this morning. It's just above 40 degrees. Tomorrow morning when we process, it's going to be even colder. It's supposed to be down in the low 20s. So probably end up doing the same thing tomorrow to make sure they fire up in time. So I'm going to pull everything out. My light cut off. Pull everything out, get it set up, and then we'll just have to wait. Well, I'm glad I came out here to do this early. So this scalder I've had issues with since I got it. So when you twist the drain plug on all the way, the outlet to drain the water is facing up, because when they welded the threaded rod in here, or the threaded drain bung, they didn't weld it properly. I reached out to the company, they were of zero help. They said start threading it at a different spot, which that doesn't work. If you know anything about threads, you can only start it at one spot. So I had this turned. I thought I could turn this, just the nozzle piece, down, but what happens is then it starts leaking out of there. So unfortunately the scalder drain on this is absolutely useless, and like I said, the company was of zero help when I reached out to them, which is kind of a bummer. So what I'm gonna have to end up doing, not today obviously, because I'm not gonna be able to do it before we start, is get a couple washers and then put the washers to space this out between the drain and the threaded bung, so that then this faces down. So unfortunately today we're not gonna have a drain on this. I'm just gonna have to tip it over, but that's why you come out here and start your equipment early. Unfortunately, we lost a bird last night. So this is a third full-size bird that we've lost. We lost one a week and a half ago, and we lost one yesterday. Sorry, 2 mornings ago, and then we lost this one last night into this morning. We noticed this one last night was not doing well, not moving. It was starting to turn purple, like a purple blue. The unfortunate reality with these birds is that they do have heart issues because they grow so fast. So this is the same type of bird you would get at the grocery store to the big-breasted white meat bird. It's a Cornish Cross. So they grow so fast, they get up to, I mean, we have some in there that are probably 10 pounds right now at 8 weeks, versus our laying hens we got at the same time are maybe a pound. Some are less than a pound at 8 weeks. So the unfortunate reality with these birds is they just don't hold up. So you have to process at 8 weeks, and this was one of the smaller ones too. So they all have these same issues. That's why some people call them race car chickens. They just grow so fast, and then they have some of these issues. So unfortunately we lost another one. That brings us down to, I think, 93 total. So it's not terrible, but we did lose a few that are full grown, which is kind of a bummer because we fed them that whole time. It's just the unfortunate reality of raising these type of birds. There is another option out there. It's like a Red Ranger or Freedom Ranger, depending on which hatchery you get it from. Those ones take about 12 weeks to grow out, and they don't usually have these issues. They're more of a typical chicken that you would see around. They're about that size. They're a little bit smaller. The meat's a little bit darker. So we may raise some of those next year along with these, just to see the difference and compare the difference. But like I said, we did lose one last night. Okay, so we got our chicken. Put it in upside down. You want to hold the feet, and then through the hole at the bottom, the neck will come out. Some of them are tighter than others. Then once you get the neck out, there's a jawbone right here. Kind of like a human jawbone. It's right this area. I want to find that jawbone, and then right at the jawbone, I'm not going to cut right now. Then you just want to do one nice cut with a sharp knife. You need a sharp knife to do this, otherwise it'll be torture for the chickens. So once the head's out, once they're in this cone, they're pretty sedated, they're comfortable. So now we will perform the cut. Unfortunately, due to YouTube community guidelines, we're unable to show the dispatch of the bird and major blood. So there's not major blood during the process, but we did take out most of that. There's a little bit of blood after this, but it's very little. If you want to see the whole process of dispatching the bird and the process between that and then going into the scalder, which you'll see next, there is a link down in the description. Send us an email, and then we'll send you the link for the unedited version. And then same thing, we're gonna have an upcoming pig butchering video. It's gonna be the same thing for that. And then in the description of that video, there'll be the same thing where you can send us an email and we'll send you the unedited version, because YouTube will not allow us to post that. So going forward, there's very little blood. Check the description for information on that, and we'll continue on with the video. Okay, so this is the chicken. We dispatched it. I come over here now to the scalder. Put it in the scalder. It's gonna go in the scalder for about 45 seconds. The water's about 145, 150 degrees. And then as soon as the membrane on the feet and the feathers are easily pulled out, that's how we know that it's ready to go. Cue the Jeopardy music.
Like a baby.
Leah is singing the Jeopardy song. Okay, so it's been about 45 seconds. Test the feathers. They're still a little tough to pull out, so we'll keep it in there a little bit longer. Feathers came out decent that time. So check the feet. You kind of want to take the bottom of the foot, and if that comes off easy like that, that's how you know it's ready. This one's pretty close. Give it another 10 seconds. Okay, now that comes off nice and easy. So from here, go into the plucker. Want to have water on at the same time. Plucker on. And then there's usually a couple of feathers. You can pull those off. Okay, so we took the bird out of the scalder and plucker. There's no feathers on it. So now to break it down, breast side up, then you take the leg, and then you want to find this joint. And you just cut through. We'll save the feet for stock. I'll make a small slit in the neck area. I will expose the esophagus and the crop, which should be empty because they haven't eaten in 24 hours. There's not really an easy way to do it. You kind of got to stick your thumb in there and pull it away from the skin, or away from the meat. And then with the crop, you can get the esophagus as well. Pull the esophagus away. Okay, now everything's loose on the front. Go to the back side. Back here, there's a little gland that you want to remove. Cut down to the bone. Pull that out. It goes in the offal bin. Then on the back side, slice that open. You never want to poke. You just want to slice. If you poke, you're gonna damage the intestines and then make a big mess. And from here, once it's opened up, you can reach your hand in. And the smaller birds are harder if you have bigger hands, but reach your hand in, scoop, and everything will come right out. So in here you got the intestines, you got the heart, which we'll save. You got the kidneys here attached to the gallbladder. You do not want to puncture the gallbladder. It will make a giant mess and ruin the kidneys. There's the kidney, or the liver, sorry. And then here you got the gizzard. Which, there's the gizzard. We're not saving any of that. That's all gonna go to the pigs. Want to make sure you have a clean work surface. Cut out the vent. And then inside, you want to scrape for the lungs. There's one. There's the other. Give it a good washing. Then you can cut the neck. So we'll save the neck for stock. When you cut the neck, you want to make sure you cut the angle of the neck away from, you want to cut like this, away from the bag. So when it goes in the bag, it doesn't rip the bag. Do any little cleanup, any little bits you want to take out of there. Give it a good rinse. And there is a chicken that you would buy at the store. So I keep all the skin from the neck, and then just tuck it in there, and that's how you would get the chicken at the store. That's all there is to it. Okay, we got all the chickens processed. Now is the step of breaking them down. We don't eat a ton of whole birds, as I think I said earlier in the video. So we chose to freeze 30 whole birds, and then we'll give some of those away, and then the rest of these are getting broken down. We eat more of the chickens pieced out. So there's multiple different ways to do this. The way I found it's the quickest for doing this many birds. I'm trying to break down 51 birds, so it's gonna, and I'm doing it by myself, so it's gonna take a little while. This is the quickest way I've found to do it. It does leave a little bit of meat on the bones, but when we make stock, we'll boil the carcasses, we'll pull all the meat, and then we'll use that, we'll can that, and then either use it for dog food, or we'll use it for us for soups or whatever else. So there's a little bit of meat, but it will not go to waste. So first thing I do is cut off the wings. There's the wing and the leg portion. You want to cut it, and then inside of it there's a joint. So you see that joint. This is incredibly difficult to do, kind of showing the camera, so I'll do one real time afterwards. So break it down, comes right off at the joint. That's first, and then I do the second one. You can see here, that's where you want to make your first cut, and then you can kind of crack the joint out, and then really you can just take the tip of your knife and it'll get in there, and then you can take it right out. Next I'll do the leg quarters. So with the leg quarter, this is just skin right here, so you can just open that right up, and then as you can see all the way down is just skin. So same thing for this. Once you get the skin, there's a joint in there, and you just follow that out. There's one leg quarter. For this, we're gonna break these down, the leg from the thigh. So you can see right here, there's this fat line. That's where you want to cut. And then again, there's another joint. You'll just cut right through it. Same thing for the other side. Just cut the skin, follow it down and around, find the joint, and then cut it out. You could leave the leg quarter whole like this. We did some leg quarters like this. They're good on the barbecue. But for this purpose, we're gonna break them down even further. Find the joint, cut through. Now for the breast, I'll cut this little piece of skin here. And again, there's another fat line here that kind of follows the breast. So that's where it will cut. Make a first cut. And then from here, I'm just gonna follow the rib cage all the way through. And it's just kind of pushing the knife at a little bit of an angle so it rides the rib cage. And then what you'll find in here is there's a little pocket up at the top. And that is where the tender meets the breast. So you can see here, there's a line. You can see this line right here where the tender and the breast meet, that when you cut enough of it, the tender will just separate from the breast. So then I'll come back, cut the breast there, continue to follow the tender down, and then from here what I do is I turn it around like this, and then I'll follow this breastbone all the way down. Same thing, my knife's kind of always at an angle towards the bone, but not cutting the bone. So I'll follow this down. And then there's the breast. And that leaves you with the tender. Again, I'm trying to show this on camera so it messes up a little bit with the angles of the knife, but I'll do one real time so you can see that it doesn't really get messed up. So I'll break the tender away from the rib cage, then come back to the breastbone, follow it down and around. tender will pop out. So same thing on the other side. Cut the skin. Follow the breast. Get to the tender. Pull that. You can really just pull the tender away from the breast and it'll pull nice and clean. As you can see here, there's no cut marks. It just pulls it away nice and clean. Then come back here, there's a little piece of cartilage you got to go around. Then I'll follow the breastplate and breast number 2. And follow the rib cage down. Try to show this here. I'm just really taking the knife and just scoring the meat, and then it'll gently pull away from the rib cage. Then I come back here, follow the breastbone, and then pop the tender out. And then you got the carcass. There's not a ton of meat. There's a little bit of meat here in between the two, where the breastbone comes up and hits the wishbone. There's a little bit of meat in there. And there's a little bit of meat left on the cage. There's some on the backbone. There's a little bit here from the thigh and the leg quarter, but there's very little. So like I said, this will get cooked down for stock. Once it's cooked, we'll pull all the meat off the bone, and then we'll save the meat. We'll can the meat and then use it for, like I said, we make our own dog food, so we use a chicken a lot of times, so we use that, or we can use it in soups or whatever. So we'll save the carcass for stock. Now I'll do one in real time. No commentary, I'll just burn through it real quick. You can see how long it actually takes, and then you can see the difference between on camera and doing it regular. Okay, so we'll burn through this one real time now. You can see just like a whole chicken you would buy at the store, and we'll start right now. As you can see, I just pull the breast right away from the tender. You really don't even need a knife. And there it is. So that was real time. That's the time So that was real time. That's about how long it's going to take me to do every single one. I did some yesterday. I got about 20 more to go. So I'll knock the rest of these out. I'll throw it up on time lapse so you can see, and I'll put a counter to show how long it actually took me to do these last, well, I guess it'd be 8. I think there was 21, so 19 more. So I'll throw it up on time lapse. You can see how long it takes me. One thing I do right now is I do cut the wing tip off. Again, there's just a joint you go through. I do cut the wing tip off. I leave the wings together, and then when we have wings, I'll cut them. It just saves time now. It doesn't take that long to cut them when we eat wings. But I'll take the I'll take the wing tips off because we'll use those for stock. If we leave them on when we go to cook wings, it just gets wasted. There's not a ton of meat on it, but it will add good flavor to stock. So that'll go in the stock bin. That'll get cooked down. We'll start that later today or tomorrow, and then cook down all these carcasses for stock, and then we can pressure can that. So that's all there is to breaking down chicken. It's super easy. If you're not planning to raise chickens, it's still easier to buy whole chickens at the store and break it down and part it out. You can buy them in bulk probably, save some money, vacuum seal them. That's what we've done for years now. We haven't been raising our own chickens, but we've always bought whole chickens. Very rarely do we buy partial chickens. So we'll get started and I'll knock out the rest of these. All right, we are done now. So we'll get the rest of these bagged up, we'll get them in the freezer, we'll start some stock, and then we will go from there. All right, so we got all our chicken packaged up. We vacuum sealed it, put some labels on it so we know what they are. We didn't label all the whole birds, we just labeled some of them. Those are the ones we'll give away to some people. This is livers and kidneys and hearts. We'll give that to the dog. And then we just packaged up in the sizes that we're gonna eat. So most of them we just did 2 breasts. We did 4 drumsticks. Leg quarters we did 2. Wings we did 24. So everything's all packaged up. It's all frozen. Currently working on cooking down some of the feet and the heads and the necks for more broth. We got 1 pressure canner going with some stock already in it. And we got some chicken pieces and stock that we pressure canned last night. It's already done. So that's where we'll wrap up this video. Like I said, link in the description for the unedited version, and you can see the whole process. It's not much different than this video, but it is the unedited version. Big thanks to my mom and dad for coming down and helping process. I'm not sure we would have been able to get it done without them. It's still a long couple days to get it done, but chickens are done and in the freezer. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you on the next video.